I'm Johnny Smith.
I'm Richard Porter.
And this is Smith & Sniff, a podcast in which two friends talk about cars and many other things.
Welcome to the shed at the bottom of my garden.
I'm a long way from home, but welcome to the pleasure dome. Welcome to the pleasure shed.
You didn't drive all night, but you did drive all afternoon.
I did.
To get to me.
Yeah. To
come to my house.
Yeah, where I was being graced with a fish curry and some red wine. And rosé.
My wife plied you with wine.
She did. I've got a nice supply of it here. On top of, we've got a very detailed sound booth here.
Detailed.
Detailed. It's is this a piece of off-cut glass? What, or is it?
This is it's a surprisingly heavy but small desk that was left in this room by the previous owners of this house, along with the gammy sofa behind you.
I love the fact that the people who sold you the house, they not only left a piano, but that's because it's on a very steep set of stairs out of your shed. So they're like, fuck that, I'm not taking the piano to there.
At least they had the courtesy to say, would you like the piano? I think they went, for the little ones to learn. And we went, oh, yes, that would be lovely.
And they went,
yes. Yes. Now, what's actually happened is, of course, we go, oh, yes, wouldn't it be nice for the kids to learn piano? But we're not going to. This room is freezing in the winter. Yeah. And often quite stuffy and hot in the summer. We're not sending the kids up here. Also, that piano is wildly out of tune.
I bet it's absolutely ruined from all the moisture.
Maybe it's at the yes. Also, it's a very damp room. And I don't think we ever, because this is where I record, just because it's relatively quiet as long as some dickwit isn't leaf blowing in one of the adjacent gardens. But we haven't talked about
Dick Whittington.
Dick Whittington. Turn again, Dick Whittington. We haven't talked about the Hornet problem.
Oh no, you must tell them.
Because we've got the exercise bike up here as well. And I came up here 3 or 4 weeks ago and I got on the exercise bike and then suddenly, like an Apache helicopter rising up from behind some trees to take out some enemies, this frigging Hornet rose up from behind that book cabinet.
Fairly high idle?
Yes, high idle. Yeah. But they're bassy.
They're big.
Like a wasp.
Yeah.
Is a sort of,
it's more two-stroke a wasp.
Actually, yes, maybe it is.
Isn't it?
I was going to say like a sort of...
I think a Hornet's a fat four-stroke.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But I'd say a Hornet's almost V80.
Oh, yeah. Could be bigger displacement, yeah. I was going to go with cockchafer. Have you ever heard of cockchafer?
Bloody hell, yes.
Amazing sound.
The first time I ever heard a cockchafer, something I didn't think I'd ever say, was I came home. We'd gone on a school trip to go to the theatre to see something at the Manchester Royal Exchange. Lovely theatre, in the round. Oh, I think it was Midsummer Night's Dream. And I got home, but my mum had been to my parents' evening. So all the way back from... and I don't know why. I think sort of a mate's mum was giving us a lift back from the coach, dropped us at school. Mate's mum drove me and a friend back to our house. Yeah. But I knew my mum had been to the school to see my teachers. So there's that sort of, oh shit.
What's going to happen?
Well, because I was a terrible slacker.
Were you?
Yeah.
I thought you were a studious student.
No, God, no.
Weren't you?
No, not even close.
But you've made a fine career out of being average at school.
Yes. When I told you about this, that my school reports consistently used to say, essentially it was summed up in one remark that said, Richard is able but lazy.
Really?
Yeah.
I had, I think, one school report. I remember there was the word complacency mentioned, and it raised an eyebrow. My mum mentioned it about 4 times in the following days, to the point where I was like, I can't bear this. I'm going to have to try a little harder. It was just one term. I was probably chasing tail rather than results. Oh, and that was it. I went back to being studious again.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're studious?
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah, I like to think that I was a trier, and I did all right at GCSEs.
Do you remember what you got?
I got 4 A's, 3 B's and a C, but 2 of them were A stars.
What?
Yeah, fact. Because
Well, you're younger than me because we didn't have A stars when I did mine. But
I was just scared of like having to redo stuff.
I had to redo maths.
Yeah, well, maths was my nemesis.
I absolutely crashed into the sea on maths.
Yeah.
Do you remember though at that point that you could do the easy or the hard?
Yeah.
I can't. They didn't call it that but there was a sort of upper and lower paper.
Yeah, I think I got told that you could either like really crash and burn the hard one, or you could come at the higher end of the easier one.
But the maximum you could get on the easier one was a C.
Correct.
But that was still considered a pass.
Yeah, which is what I aimed for a C.
See, I did the harder paper, plummeted into the C.
Oh.
Then I got a D or maybe even an E.
Oh.
Had to go back and do it again. They went, just do the easy paper.
Yeah.
And I scraped a C on the easy paper.
Well, and look where it's got you.
Here I am, the head of accountancy at Anderson Consulting.
You're in a mouldy shed next to a Peloton machine.
At risk of being attacked by hornets.
Yeah.
Well, no, so cockchafer, I got back from a night out of the theatre. Was this, I must have been like, what are they, I can't remember what it'd be called now, but in those days it was sort of like fifth year, probably.
Yeah, end of school year.
Or was it lower sixth? Anyway, it doesn't matter, but what happened was that I was in the kitchen. And I remember this because also the big light was on, it was very brightly lit room.
Oh, danger, moss.
And I thought, am I in trouble here? And Mum went, oh, good. Everyone was very happy with your progress, and she was talking me through this, and I was like, oh, thank fuck for that. I'm out of the woods. That. And then suddenly, like a Hemi engine rising on wings from behind the radiator. This fucking thing, and we both sort of ducked, and then so if there had been a bad report that Mum was building up to, that was suddenly out of mind because this thing,
amazing.
But then what happened is it's somehow, I don't know, maybe it's the temperature. Are they very sensitive? Are they like hot air balloons? They can't fly in certain conditions.
Yeah, they're often, I think they're out at night on humid evenings. They favour the humidity.
Because I have subsequently been sort of sitting outdoors somewhere and suddenly, again, you sort of go,
yeah.
Is that, Jesus Christ, there's a Mustang coming for me, and it's not. Yeah. It's a and it goes by.
Oh, seriously. They'd be perfect to American Cars and Coffee cocktails.
Yeah, and also because it seems like a slight change of conditions and they crash.
Yeah.
That's what happened. This cockchafer and we didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And it sort of, I think it like twatted into the fridge or something and fell to the ground. And we went, what the fuck? I think we put a bowl over it.
Yeah. I love a cockchafer beetle. They're brilliant. Well, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's not a made-up name. It's a real beetle. And I've always liked insects. I actually wanted, talking of school reports and results, I actually wanted to be an entomologist. It's one of the things...
Is that?
I wanted to do that for a living.
Is it entomologist?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that an insect person?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I wanted to be an insect specialist.
They are fascinating, aren't they?
They're brilliant. I hate the way people just dismiss them as creepy crawlies and they all should be just swatted and... Apart from being a crucial part of the food chain, they're also really, really well designed. Some of them are so cool. And of course, honey bees create honey.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know. And and last time I checked, honey is one of the best foodstuffs.
Yes, it is.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Cannot go wrong. Can't rot.
What happened when did humankind figure out that honey was nice?
I think someone who was hungover or exceptionally hungry just one day tripped over or was climbing a tree looking for fruit and saw this hive and thought...
And all the bees were out, so they went out a little top.
Yeah, there was a sign, like an old-fashioned shop sign, which
back
said,
soon.
back in half an hour, popped out for lunch. And they went... I wonder what's in that. And they just cracked the sort of like cardboardy top off it.
And just went back and went, lads.
He goes,
we've got to invent toast now because this is fucking delicious.
This is amazing. And they were like, brilliant. Right, I'll go out and buy the cans.
Yeah.
All right, and then when we're a bit battered and we've got the munchies,
yeah, exactly.
you put the toast and the honey on.
Who's going to invent the unbranded mountain bike? Leave it with me, guys. I've just done the wheel. This should be a piece of cake.
No, I absolutely love honey.
What a day.
Yeah.
For humans, the discovery of honey, but what a bad day for bees, because they suddenly went, uh-oh.
Well, they're getting robbed.
Yeah. This is the start of slavery for us.
Yeah, it is.
Shit.
Yeah, it is actually.
But a great day for humans.
Yeah, I love bees. Bumbles. Talking of cockchafers,
yes.
the other ones, I think it's the buff-tip bumblebee, which I think is the largest British bumblebee. Other countries will have bigger, more impressive bumblebees, no doubt.
Yes.
But that's our V8 Bumbler. That is amazing.
Well, so to go back to the Hornet situation in this room, the Hornet rose up from behind the bookcase, the little IKEA. Is it a Billy? I can't remember. It's
like
that generic.
A Micro Machines helicopter gunship.
Yeah, and it just went up against the window over there, and I absolutely shat myself. So I was like, what the shitting? That's not a wasp, that's a hornet.
That's a big bugger.
And I've never been stung by a hornet, but I just assume it would be horrible because they're big bastards. Imagine how much poison is on board.
They're carrying.
So packing.
they're packing heat at the back end.
So I got off the exercise bike and flung the door open.
Yeah.
And the Hornet left the room.
Did it just casually just turn?
Did it kind of like a Harrier jump jet?
Yes. It does that swivel in the air.
And then just sort of out. And as soon as it went out, I was like, slammed the door shut. I was like, thank God for that. Got back on the bike. And then the bike sort of faces towards, the door is at 90 degrees to it.
I'll take a picture so you can see for reference.
But suddenly, I realised the door frame above the door, there is something there that looks unfamiliar. What is that? I wasn't there before.
And then I couldn't.
And I looked, and I was like, "Is that a?" I was like, I had to stop the bike. And I got off, and I went over and I looked. And it's like, shit me, it's another Hornet just hanging on the top of the door frame, like just so dangling above when you open the door.
It's about to have the tire warmers taken off.
That's what it looked like.
And they're going to fire it up.
It's on the aircraft carrier. They're about to do that thing they do with the gloves on the American aircraft carriers.
The table tennis bats.
the double pointing.
Go.
It's like, right, what do I do here? And as I sort of went closer to make sure, because it was a bit weird, it was so still, I thought, is it alive or is it just... As I went closer, it slightly swiveled its head and eyeballed me.
Oh, God. They've got big heads.
Yes.
Very big heads.
Well, essentially, this was like a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, but with wings hanging from the top of a door frame. Like, shitting heck. And then I was like, my first instinct would be, like all those years ago when my wife and I went on holiday to northeastern Italy, and I got out of the shower one day and there was a scorpion on the back of the bathroom door.
Was there?
Yeah. Not a massive one, but it was probably, I don't know.
Which one was it? Was it the guitarist?
No, it was the mullety singer. And he was just whistling. And it's so
what
off-putting.
A bastard, really, especially if you need a sit-down wee.
But
really off-putting.
So I very, very kind of wrapped the towel around me and then very gently just opened the door enough to slide out and went into the house. And my wife, because my wife's from Arizona, so I thought she's match fit when it comes to scorpions. And I went, there's a scorpion on the back of the bathroom door.
What did she say?
She went, oh shit, what do we do? And I was like, well, I was hoping you would know what to do.
Yeah, so I'm not
I don't really know. We ended up ringing her dad in Arizona because it was the evening in Italy, so we knew he'd be awake. I was thinking, these desert people, they will have wisdom. Because I thought, the thing is, you don't want to just wallop it because it might spurt poison in your face.
Yeah.
Or it attracts other scorpions or something. There's going to be some... You lay down a trail of cloves... And then you gently light a candle and you sprinkle sugary water. I just thought there's going to be some wisdom. And so we rang her dad and said, there's a scorpion on the back of the bathroom door. What do we do? And he went, just hit it with a shoe.
What, kill it?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Did you kill it?
Yes. What was I going to do?
I would have just scraped it into a bowl or...
I
would have put it in a towel and flicked it outside.
No. Well, that's what I did with the Hornet.
Yeah.
The Hornet on the door frame. So I don't want to twat this guy.
No,
because apart from anything else, it looks like he may just go, no, mate. Absolutely wallop it with a massive like steel toe cap boot, and it would just go, boom. No.
That Hornet.
Now I'm going to sting you. I'm going to take my rings off first, so I don't cut you.
I was going to say,
but I'm going to sting you.
Was he fresh back from the Euros?
It did look a bit like that.
Yeah, and he's like,
yeah,
listen,
I got banned. Okay, I've been sent back.
Yeah.
and I'm pretty fucked off about it.
I'm a member of the firm.
Yeah.
All right, don't ask which one.
I know some powerful people. So I flicked it, and it flicked outside, and it landed on the ground, and then it sat there, and it looked extremely angry, and I panicked, and I stamped on it.
Oh, you killed that one?
Well, yes. Now, I think this may have angered the Hornet community.
Well,
So-
they put out a call sign.
I think. Well, actually, what worried me is I thought that maybe it sent up a sign that the Hornets maybe pair, maybe for life, like swans.
Are
I
you
don't know.
sure about that?
Well, because what happened is the next day I came up here, I opened the door very cautiously in case, because I thought maybe there's a hornet's nest under the floor or something.
Yeah.
And there's going to be thousands of the bastards in here.
Yeah.
So I opened the door very cautiously and left the door open and sort of stepped in just to make sure they weren't going to like a squadron of the bastards coming out from somewhere.
Yeah.
No. And then just as I'm standing over there in the doorway, sort of peeking in, I hear this from behind me. And one of the fuckers comes from outside and flies straight in behind me through the door. And now I've got another Hornet in here. I was like, fuck. But then it was only afterwards I thought maybe it's the original Hornet that flew out.
Looking for its
come
mate.
looking for its mate.
Oh,
that I stamped on.
You've killed his friend.
Anyway, there have been no Hornets for the past few weeks, so I assume we're okay. Because then a guy came round to pollard that tree out there.
Yeah.
But he is also a pest controller.
Ethical, or because some of them actually like the creatures they have to they sometimes relocate rather than kill.
No, I think it's a case by case.
Okay, just checking.
But I said, I think I've seen some hornets in there. I think there might be a hornet's nest around here. And he went, I'll have a look, but you'd know.
Yeah.
Well, because they are. It's like having Cessnas trying to burrow in under your house.
They are loud. Yeah, they're incredibly loud.
Anyway. You're listening to Britain's #1 podcast, car and insect podcast. If you've got a chitinous insect question, then do write in.
I have to say, though, you can't beat a good cockchafer. They are phenomenal.
What happened was, because I didn't know what a cockchafer was, and this parents' evening night, we trapped it, and then it was still there the next morning. So put it into a little like Tupperware, and I took it to school, and I took it to the biology department.
Yeah.
And said, and they were all there, and there was a little biology teacher's sort of kind of lab thing that was weird because it just had plants growing in it.
Yeah.
And I went, tap, tap, tap. Can you tell me what this insect is? And they all went, oh, look at that, that's a cockchafer. I was like, what do we do with it? And they went, we'll just release it. And so we released it.
And it went,
brrr, it fired up the V8
oh,
and off
great.
it went.
Yeah, it's lumpy idle and everything.
It was almost like one of those like sort of radial engines aircraft.
Yeah.
Kind of brrr,
Well, where the cylinders all fire up one after the other.
Yes. They're always an odd number, aren't they?
Yeah,
for reasons that's the way they work. But I couldn't
I'd love a radial engine something. It'd probably be a Honda Cub. A radial engine Cub.
Is this true? I read this week or last week that they're going to stop making the smallest engine Cub.
Yeah.
The original, the OG Cub, the Cub 50, is it?
I read that in a year's time. They're giving it 12 months' notice.
Yeah.
There's going to be some serious stockpiling going on
You think so,
in
developing countries because it's such a backbone. But yeah, they're saying that it can't meet emissions rules because I guess if you put a cat on it, that's like enough back pressure to just make the engine stop working or something.
Well, my immediate thought when I read it was, I need to buy one of these. It's not quite got the impact of Mad Max's Last of the V8s.
Oh yes,
but at the same time, you kind of go, a Cub. It's the most produced engine of all time, I believe. Still,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
and that Honda engine, that whole thing is like, it's a legend of mobility. Anybody that's interested in cars, bikes, has to respect the Cub.
So fascinating. Was it not very, very carefully designed to use a sort of minimum number of parts?
Yeah.
For cost and reliability. So
yeah.
It's just an exquisite piece of engineering.
It's an amazing packaging, and it's almost a rite of passage that it's one of the first engines you'll experience.
Ring,
almost.
ding, 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 ding.
No, it's not ring ding because it's
not
four-stroke.
ring-ding?
It's actually got a really nice, and it's clutchless change. So you just rock it into gear.
So have you ridden the 50 or have you ridden the big
I've had all the Cubs, man.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have
we had the Yamaha rip-off, which was shaft drive, called the Fuck Right Off 80, as we used to call it. FR80 it used to be called the Fuck Right Off.
Is that what it was? FR80?
FR80 was the Yamaha, and I forget what the other rip-off ones were, but we had a... Yeah, in the summer holidays, we used to buy, like, ruined Cubs and just ride them flat out.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
We used to put whatever oil and fuel we could find.
Mazola or something.
Yeah, we used to. Poor things. We used to run them on two-stroke, pre-mixed two-stroke. Even when
cruel.
Well, we were young lads.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like they are a bit like insects, aren't they? It's like, I know it's not good to kill one, but they're
amazing.
More. Yeah,
they put up with it. So honestly, big shout out, huge shout out to the Cub. And I know we talked about the Isle of Man TT quite recently, but John McGuinness, legend of TT, massive Cub fanatic.
Is he?
He's got dozens of rare Cubs.
Seriously?
Yeah, he's a proper Cub collector. Yeah.
Wow.
So McGuinness, if you're listening, which chances are you won't be, maybe you need to buy the last of the Cubs.
Oh,
I think you ought to.
So the larger capacity ones are carrying on, as I understand it, but the sort of your classic OG.
Yeah, but I haven't done a research on this, but I think the displacement has changed over the years. So the earlier ones used to be able to get a 100cc or even a 110, and then it went down to a 90, and then you could get a 70, which maybe you still can. But they might have now gone up to a 125 because the Monkey Bike has a 125 engine, and that's like direct injection and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, anyone, even if you're not into motorbikes, have a ride of a Cub one day.
No,
it's a joy.
This is the thing. I'm not into motorbikes, but I absolutely would love to, because it's just sort of, it's like owning a car with a Chevy small block.
Yeah,
it's just you're sort of just touching history.
It's part of car society, like that engine. That is exactly it. And that's what I feel about the LS. Actually, it's like the LS can still be traced back to the Chevy small block. And it's like such an amazing drivetrain.
Have you had a car with a small block?
I've got my Chevy Impala's got a small block.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Not the original engine for that car, but it has a 350 small block in it. Yeah.
I suppose technically I've owned in inverted commas, but I had that Vauxhall VXR8.
Oh, that's
had an LS in it. So,
yeah, and that's a proper motor.
That's touching history. Yeah. Touching the cloth of history. I'm just looking at the Honda Japan website. Gosh, they make a lot of motorbikes, don't they?
They do.
I feel like I'm on the bikes page, and this is not where these things live. There's probably a separate... Oh, no, there is. Look, here we go. Okay. Super Cub 110 Pro.
Oh, so they still sell the 110. Okay, nice.
Super Cub 110. Yeah, here they are. And Super Cub C125. That looks a bit swishy.
Just love the fact they're called Super Cubs.
A fun and comfortable run that expands your daily life is the translated slogan.
Expands your daily life?
Yeah. And then it says, again, I mean, this is done... The website is in Japanese. This is the Google translation to the webpage. New Cub is your Cub. It's like me. Let's expand every day.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
what does it mean?
And then
let's expand every day.
The translation is suffering here, I think. They scroll down, it says, produce your own lifestyle.
Well, I've got no other choice, have I? I've got...
Have fun, feel comfortable, and run every day. Adorable headlights with round eyes, etc. Full of convenient functions and equipment. Now, I mean...
Full? I don't know if it's full.
Well, I don't know. The instrument cluster looks a bit swishy now. It's got warning lights, and one of them, according to this, is a check engine. There's an ABS light. That can't be right.
Yeah, it probably does have ABS. Well, Honda invented bike ABS, I'm sure.
But on a Cub?
Yeah, well... But now...
So there's Super Cub 50 Pro and Super Cub 110.
You're making me want to get a very late Cub now. I'd put it in the boot of a really late Ford Crown Victoria.
Oh.
So I could have the last of some of the legends.
We forgot in our giddiness to buy the Eagle Quest. We forgot that we really wanted to buy a Crown Vic, didn't we? But
hey, never say never.
But then that chap, that YouTuber, Furious Driving.
Yeah.
Have you seen his Crown Vic and when he discovered that it was...
a bit more rotten.
Not good. It put me off a little bit.
But that's all cars, Rich.
Yeah.
That's all cars, mate.
Yeah.
I've noticed in the news lately. What? What? What's so funny? What? It's not funny.
I just felt like you were doing bad stand-up there. Hey, who's noticed in the news recently?
No, I've noticed in the news lately that Porsche headlights are getting stolen a lot. They're getting cut out of cars on the streets.
Yes.
Butchered.
I was going to say it's quite butchery, isn't it? Because I've seen it where they've sliced the wings. With what? I don't know. I don't know. An angle grinder?
Yeah, or something that's silent, but I don't know what that would be.
Because there were cars.
Japanese bandsaw? I don't even know.
Yeah. A Super Cub with
that's
blades fitted to...
Maybe it's a stationary engine that's running a belt-driven bandsaw.
Could be. Just think the noise, though,
would be unholy.
How are they doing? Because I saw some pictures.
Or tin snips, old school tin snips.
Suppose you just make a hole.
Yeah.
It's quieter.
Yeah.
More time consuming.
And I believe, aside from the fact that car lights are getting more expensive, like wing mirrors and all these ancillaries, that are stupid, really, because they're the bits that often get damaged and they should be consumables. But when they're several thousand quid, that's ridiculous. But they're getting stolen for their low heat, high lumens bulbs, which are perfect for cannabis farming.
Is that it?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. See, I thought they were being sold on the black market for cars.
Yeah.
No. It's for growing weed, but without high heat output, so that the old police helicopters can't trace
spot the heat signature.
Can't see heat, because there is no heat signature.
Wow.
So it's really high-end LED headlights. Growing weed.
Bloody hell, I had no idea.
Yeah, believe.
Well.
So you could, for example, if you were a wrong 'un, you could convert this shed at the end of your garden with, 6 Taycan headlights.
Yeah.
And you'd have the equivalent of a serious Moroccan jungle going on in here.
But wait, how are they powering them then? Because those lights will be running off.
48 volts? Are they 48 volt electrics, those cars? But they won't need that many volts because LEDs don't.
I thought they'd be just off the 12. Well, they could be off a 12 volt system still, couldn't they? Because even if it's a Taycan, probably is it Taycan 48 volt? Maybe it is. But either way, it's not mega voltage, is it? No. But I suppose they just need a little step down.
But Taycans are like the premium. Taycans and 911s, they seem to be the targets.
I wonder why.
Well, it's more fashion. It looks just more stylish.
Yeah, it's more aerodynamic.
If my cannabis den looks more stylish than yours, and I've got Porsche lights,
I suppose
then
so.
I'm balling, aren't I?
Is it because the wings of Porsches, the cannon barrels as they're known, certainly on the 911 internally, I can't remember the German, Kanonenbarolen. There is a German word.
Kanonenbarolen.
Hi, I'm Kanonenbarolen. But is it because it's just easy to snip into? Because if you think about something like a Range Rover, how are you getting in there? Because you've got bonnet above, bumper below. You could sort of jemmy it out, but then you might damage the lamp, and that's defeating the purpose. Yeah,
you might have to rip out the inner wheel arch liner and stuff. They might have just worked out, like you say, the ultimate bang for your buck when you're thieving.
If you work in a grow house that you're looking to reduce your heat signature, and you can explain why Porsches are particularly sought after for their LED lights. That's fascinating. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's old hydroponics, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought it was the parts, because it's the same, sort of, they always go, Range Rover's always getting nicked in London. And as I understand it, they're not getting nicked to be cars anymore. They're getting nicked because there's parts that are extremely valuable.
You can break them.
Because Land Rover parts are extremely expensive. And insurers will authorise now repairs on Range Rovers using used parts.
Approved used parts, which they should, which is great. Apart from the fact that I guess when you're dodgy and you're selling nicked bits, it ain't so good, is it?
When you're just dismembering cars in a chop shop.
We were talking about Bugatti's Tourbillon.
Yes. So isn't that when you put a chicken inside a turkey inside a duck or something? The Bugatti Turducken.
Turbillion. No, it's it reminded me. We never talked about the fact that V16 is a Cosa. engine.
It's a Cosworth.
Naturally aspirated Cosworth.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I know the Gordon Murray T cars have got the Cosworth
V12.
V12, and that's NA as well.
Mm.
It made me think actually the other day.
And the Aston Martin, Why Don't You Come On Over Valerie, is also
a
Cosworth V12.
So that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. So I'm wondering whether or not are these cars going to be accepted into the sort of Cosworth Owners Club events.
But also, in 10 years' time, an immaculate low mileage GMA T50 would have been worth £5 million, but then the fast forward community's got hold of it, and now it's worth £50 million. Almost as much as an immaculate SAF 4x4.
Yeah. And you'll see it pulls up to the Ace Cafe late at night. and it does a limiter bouncing burnout all the way up the street, holding up Royal Mail vans as it does it.
No, it's true. Cosworth is interesting, isn't it? They've just become the go-to. Because
is it for low volume?
Yes.
It's exotic engines, low volume.
Yeah, it must be. But it's still, you think about the bill for developing those engines must be huge.
Massive.
And then you're not amortising that over a huge run. So I guess they've figured out ways to make those engines, I presume they're just handmade, aren't they? But they still, you still got to do the block and everything.
You still got to have the longevity in check.
I was curious about this, and somebody else that we know mentioned this the other day, and as far as we could work out, there is no commonality between those engines. Or certainly, I don't think there's any commonality between the Valerie and the T50, T33 V12s, and certainly not between the Bugatti V16.
Really? So
I think the angle is different on the V16. I can't remember now, but so it's not like it's some kind of modular family.
No,
everybody who fetches up at Cosworth gets Bespoke,
gets clean sheet treatment,
which is
amazing.
Nuts. Yeah,
Cosworth.
Is there something else they're doing as well? I feel like there might be. They're busy people.
They are busy, which is good. It's good, isn't it? It's just small business doing.
It's good, and it's also it makes you a little bit proud.
It does.
Everything else in Britain's going to shit, but at least we could turn out a limited run supercar V12 or 16.
I'm well down with that.
I was going to ask you about, have you ever, now my dog, who has been actively sniffing your crotch this evening, because she loves her new...
She does like my crotch.
She does like she's particularly fond of you for some reason. It probably is...
I don't know what it is.
But
I do wash my crotch, just so you know.
Yes, and generally... anyway, let's not go there. But... I take my dog out for a walk every day, and she's all about the smells. Dogs love smells.
They do.
I went round to some friends the other day with the dog.
Yeah.
And then she was a bit restless in their kitchen, so we just let her out in the garden. And then one of my friends looked out the kitchen window and went, "What's she up to out there?" And I was like, "She's just doing a smell audit." And she was just wandering around their garden, just sniffing stuff. That's what dogs are like. And
tortoises do a perimeter check.
Do they?
It's the equivalent. Yeah, so you put a tortoise...
Secure the perimeter.
Tortoises will do a perimeter check. And I think cats are quite like that. They'll always check the edge of the entire area before they go into the middle.
Yes.
And tortoises do that. I think they go, is this as big a space as I'm going to get given today?
Yeah.
And they go around and they go, right, I've checked. I don't think I'm going to escape. So
okay, this is
I'm going to relax now because I know I can't get out. So I'll just enjoy the space I've got.
I know the parameters within which I'm working.
Yeah. It's exactly that.
Because do they not say as well that cats always have a sort of escape plan?
Yeah,
they usually do.
I love it when you watch them.
Yeah,
it's when they're. I hate the wind. I've said this before in previous podcasts.
Yes, you do.
But what I do love, one thing I do love about windy moments, is watching the maniacal look on a cat's face.
Oh yes,
they go crazy in the wind.
They get the zoomies.
Oh, they go crazy.
But you know what? I worked a couple of years ago with another writer on a TV show, and he was an ex-teacher. And we got to talk. I said, that must have been an interesting and different experience for you. And we got around to it, were sort of things that you don't know if you're a teacher. And he went, the wind. The wind sends the kids crazy.
Oh, really?
I cannot explain it, but playtime... You let the kids out, it's windy, they go nuts.
How bizarre.
Yeah. So it's clearly it's a mammalian thing, but cats are really in touch with it. They just go, fuck it, I'm getting the zoomies. Wind zoomies. Also, cats, when cats are just sitting there but they're doing the roto ears thing because they are just like, just got to check.
Yeah.
Check in.
Like remotely adjustable wing mirrors. I always find it when you can adjust one completely out and the other one stays. Yeah.
So the dog, we're just walking on the street and she's clearly got the... And sometimes, often she's smelling the ground. She's smelling because, another dog's done a wee or something.
Yeah.
Every so often, though, she'll get nose up. She's caught something on the wind, or she go. So this happened to me the other day, as a human being with a sense of smell that is, I don't know what, 100 times worse, 1,000 times worse than a dog's smell. I think they said, I've read, that a human being, if you put a heaped teaspoon of sugar in a cup of tea, a human being will be able to smell it and go, oh, there's sugar in there. You could put a heaped teaspoon of sugar into a swimming pool and a dog would be able to tell it's in there.
Seriously?
I think that's the degree of
Gosh,
difference.
I'm now wondering what your dog sees in my crotch.
Well, things you don't, put it that way. But I got a smell on the other day while walking the dog. I was walking past a brick wall with then a fence on top of it. And I suddenly got a whiff of old car.
Oh,
and I was like, the way that the dog would go, there's a cat behind there, there's a cat. I was like, there's an old car behind there.
But it was out of view.
Out of view. And then I got to the end of the wall and I was hoping maybe there was a gate at the end that was open or something so I could have a little peek. So I was like, what is that? You know that smell?
Yeah, I do. Fusty.
Fusty, but that's the thing. It was very specifically old car smell. It wasn't just oil
it's usually
or petrol.
Is it like UV damaged rubber?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe a bit of well-worn leather.
Yeah, slightly rotty.
Maybe even a soft top that's a bit mossy or UV damaged or something. It's an amalgam of smells. It is a smorgasbord of smells, but they all come together in one old car smell. And I was just like, there's a fucking old car behind that wall. I guarantee I couldn't see it. I don't know.
Send a drone up.
It did briefly cross my mind and then I sort of forgot by the time I got home.
Could you
go on Google Maps?
Could you put the dog on your shoulders and then get the dog to describe to you what you see?
She's great at doing that.
Yeah. You've just reminded me about the hot convertible fabric smell. This week, besides feeling like utter shit, I've done 2 proms. And it's prom season. One of them was a last minute one for my lovely niece, bless her. And she gave me about an hour and a quarter's notice. Luckily, I wasn't away on a job. I was just coming back. And she wanted to go in the Beetle. So we made that happen. And when we arrived at this hotel that they were using, I was eyeballing up, what other people were doing. Few jingle jangle supercars.
Really?
Yeah, blipping the throttle.
Is this what happens now, that parents rent supercars to take their kids to proms?
I think there's money being paid to rent them, and then can you get Thingamy's uncle, or can you get Auntie what's her name? She's got a trick car.
Yeah.
And so it used to be more limousines. It's less limos now. But so I watched a couple of the sports and supercars come in. Harley Davidson, that was interesting. This, that, and the other. And then I couldn't believe it. In fact, I took a picture of it, and I will share it with our beautiful Patreon supporters. Amongst all the flash stuff, a white Cavalier convertible comes in.
What?
Driven by a woman of probably our age with 4 girls in it.
Holy shit.
White Cavalier convertible. When was the last time you saw a Cavalier convertible? And it just swanned in. It had a cross-lace alloys, very 80s body kit.
Yeah.
And it came swanning in, and I watched the reaction of the 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, because remember, this is like the most important night of your life.
I know, yeah.
It's so important. It's like Uber school disco territory.
I know.
And it got a round of applause. There were people.
Seriously?
Yeah, because they don't really know.
Because it's like a mega retro car.
They don't know what it is.
That's probably the equivalent of if we'd had proms. So hang on, a Cav convertible would have been from what, like about 1990, maybe even earlier, 89, 88, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a 35-year-old car, say.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
possibly 40 at a push.
We used to call them the school leavers party,
Yeah, we had just had a school leavers disco.
Yeah,
That's what
my
it was.
sixth form leavers disco was in 93. So that's the equivalent of someone turning up in a car from 1968. Oh, my holy God. For the tape, Johnny is showing me a picture. That's so fantastically 80s.
Yeah, just had girls in it.
But I can see that's actually quite cool because it's so retro.
Yeah, and it was white, so 80s and white.
Well, that's the thing. But imagine, I suppose, if you were taken to your school leavers disco in a 60s convertible.
Exquisite Gordon Keeble.
Oh, Elvis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that would be quite cool. So,
yeah.
Mother of Christ.
Do you know what I did? I just
look at the kit on it as well.
It's got a serious kit.
That's an Ernschke kit.
There's
a serious bit of...
and the old diamond cut cross-lace alloy.
Cross-lace.
They're in 13s, almost certainly 13s.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're so small.
it's all, I mean... That's a toss car, but at the same time, it is quite. I can see it's quite cool, particularly if you're 16. You just go, yeah, man, that's really.
But I just thought it's genuinely unique because there were R8s, there were Lamborghinis, there was a Shelby Mustang, like a modern one.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, cool, they all sound good. They're blipping the throttle and all that jazz. And I thought, no, actually, the Cav wins for me. That's
amazing. I wish you weren't able to collar the driver and go. Backstory, please.
No, I can probably do some research, but my niece, bless her, Ella, she was so nervous. That she picked the dress 5 months ago.
Oh God, I just don't like this.
I know. I felt
that's too much.
I felt the pressure on. I mean, the fact that we turned up in my shithole of a Beetle that it was covered in cobwebs because it had been in my carport, and spiders love carports, as I've said.
So she wanted to go in your Beetle.
She did. I said to her, "Look,
is this your brother's daughter?"
Yeah.
So she didn't want to go in his visibly rusty Golf.
No, apparently.
Because the Passat.
This is why I got the call. I got the call really late doors because she was crying because she was saying, "Please don't take me in the Golf."
No.
So the call came through.
Too much pressure.
Uncle Johnny or UJ, could you? Is there any chance you're local this evening? I just wondered if you might be able to take me to the prom. And I went, yeah, I can do that. What do you want, Dodge or Beetle? I mean, she could have said, actually, I'd like the Honda Insight, please. Yeah. I didn't even ask.
Again, it might play well because it sort of looks kind of retro futuristic. I don't know.
I mean, we're not yet at the end of the prom season, so I'm thinking, if the Eagle Quest...
you see? Because,
30-year-old
I think we might have missed a business opportunity here.
Yeah.
Now, my sixth form leavers we did actually, they booked, I don't know who booked, a shit ballroom at a mid-priced hotel in Stockport.
Yeah, sounds about right.
The night ended with me stealing a curtain tie-back from the hotel and using it as a... using it as a bandana around my head and running across a motorway.
A motorway?
Yes, a motorway.
How much booze had you had?
Oh, loads.
Stolen?
I think we paid for it. I don't know how. I guess our parents probably gave us something. I felt like maybe... I don't know. Did we preload? We might have preloaded. We didn't call it that back then, but we probably had some booze around someone's house.
So I was saying to my kids and my niece, we didn't have a prom. A prom wasn't a thing. We had a leavers disco.
Yeah.
And there was no booze allowed at that, naturally, because we were 16. But then it would immediately be like going to someone's house. There'd be a prearranged thing. And like the week after that, so your first week of freedom after leaving school and doing your GCSEs, there was just multiple house parties or organised gatherings. Yeah. And I remember one was organised by some friends of ours who were farmers. They basically cordoned off a field and mowed it and went, spend all night there, but don't go out the field. And we were all in the field. There were a couple of gazebos.
Right, you've got to tortoise this, okay? There's your perimeter.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay within it.
And there was scrumpy cider and this, that, and the other. And I remember an older lad who I had no idea who he was. I was banjaxed on scrumpy by that point. He came in a mini Clubman and started doing wild donuts and reverse J-turns and shit in a mown grass. And nearly took all of us out. Sweet pre-internet times.
Now, on that note...
On that side of that note?
On that side of that note. Well, two things, actually, because we talked last week about the grassy tickle. The delight of spinning up a car's wheels on grass because it's so easily done.
Yeah, almost on idle.
So first of all, a listener called Phil Webb said, "Hello, you two complete pair of flutes."
So true.
You were talking about grass burnouts last week, and it reminded me of the time I left a Brands Hatch grass car park in my CLK 220 CDI.
Oh,
the grass was damp, talky. So we're immediately onto a good start.
Perfect, effortless.
The grass was damp, so I turned the traction off and gave her a tickle to leave on basically full opposite lock. The rear wheels spinning, but the engine just above idle.
It's exactly. It's so perfect.
Me and my mate laughed all the way home after naming it a not fast and mildly furious tick over drift.
Oh, yeah, tick over drift.
Tick over drift.
Yeah.
What a lovely thing.
We could do wet grass gymkhana, and the idea is you basically don't need to rev the engine at all.
Anyone who uses over 1,000 revs is disqualified.
That would be so much fun to watch, though, wouldn't it? Strictly come grass tickling.
But this also something quite remarkable. I'm not going to say this listener's name because I don't want to dob them in the shit.
Oh, okay.
But they start their message with, "Listen, guys, hey, guys," with exclamation
We haven't
marks.
said that for ages.
Strong start.
Look, guys.
This listener was watching their son at a school sports day. And while they were waiting for hours for their son to compete in the obstacle race, they saw a chap they know who is an older gentleman who they got chatting to, and
I don't know why I'm laughing.
I don't know
what's going to. I'm just.
Anyway, this listener asked this older chap about his eldest son and how he's doing, and the reply was, "Okay," followed by a long pause before uttering the words "Le Mans," visibly folding and then composing himself. "Le Mans," he repeated. "He went to Le Mans the other weekend. There was an incident with his car, his C63 Mercedes."
No, the one that caught fire.
Well, our listener, before thinking, blurted out, "It wasn't burnt out by any chance, was it? Possibly a diff seal?" The guy paused before saying, "Yes, burnt out." And then before he could figure out how on earth this person knew this, our listener quickly said, "Oh, I think I saw some pictures online," and didn't give away that we'd been talking about it on the podcast. But yeah, we have a listener who has inadvertently met the dad of the person
at a sports day.
At school sports day.
I mean, that's how wide we can cast the net.
Anyway, that was weird. I thought weird coincidence. But yes,
that is a freaky coincidence.
Which was not. You see, that's the thing. I think the problem with that C63 is that they went above idle.
Yeah, they're a
just let it sit because it's a talky car. You could have just sat there. You could have probably got out and gone and got a drink and.
You could have ghost ridden it.
Whoa!
You could have absolutely ghost ridden it. I need to make. There's two observations that I've made this week. I've been in South Wales doing a barn find while self-medicating. And I had a head cold.
I think you need to explain. You had a cold and you were taking a lot of orange juice.
I've been making.
You weren't like microdosing LSD.
Oh no! I've been squeezing my own oranges, which is not a euphemism, and I've been taking plenty of Lemsips because I just had a head cold on the hottest few days of the year. So I've been in South Wales and doing this barn find of a sweet 80s Ford. And while we're doing it, a delivery van pulls up on this cul-de-sac that we're in, which has a lot of older people living in it. And this van it's a refrigerator box type van. And it says Thomas the Pop on the side of it. Okay?
That's very Welsh, yes.
Thomas the Pop. And the guy gets out with a leather satchel, like a cash satchel.
Yeah.
And starts knocking on doors and rolls the shutter up at the back. And I realise he just delivers lemonade and Coca-Cola and...
Wait, no, but surely cream soda.
Yeah,
like dandelion and burdock.
Yeah, like and the sort of no name carbonated drinks, but takes cash payment. This still happens.
Did you accidentally drive into the 70s?
I said to the guy who I was doing the barn find with, who's sort of a great grandmother's in the house. I said, I have not seen this stuff since the 80s, possibly the early 90s.
Yeah.
He said, oh no, it still thrives around here in these parts.
Where was this? Where in South Wales?
Let me. Do you want me to be specific about the actual town? Yeah, okay.
No, I don't. I mean, just.
I'll look it up. If you like precision, it's fine.
I don't know. Bridgend, Llanelli, Swansea.
Well, it was about
Porthcawl,
30 miles from Swansea.
Okay. Anyway, but yeah,
no,
that's
I'm
amazing.
looking up, Rich.
It
was incredible. So, I can't find it. Thomas the Pop.
Thomas the Pop is fantastic.
So well done, because I just thought it was like someone was taking the piss.
Yeah.
I was like, this can't still happen. They said, oh yeah, a lot of old people, they still work in cash, they still like it, and they love having chilled drinks delivered to their door. So that amazed me. Then at lunchtime, we'd cleaned the car, and we were doing quite well time wise, and my nose was still heavily running, so I was like, well, I'll go and get lunch. What are we going to get? He went, there's a great fish and chip shop down the road.
Ooh.
I said, okay, I'll go and get it. Hottest day of the year, perfect for fish and chips.
Yeah.
I drove down the road, and as I went to this fish and chip shop, as I walked in, I heard an interesting car. You know when you hear something down the road. I looked back, and it was a Gilbin Invader.
No.
With the Webasto all the way back. Oh. Yeah, it was the most Welsh thing I've seen.
Shitting.
It was an orange Gilbin Invader. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, really mint. And I thought, that's tidy.
That's mega.
And then I went into the fish and chip shop. And
That'd be a Essex V6 in that, wouldn't it? So,
yeah.
Oh.
And I was greeted in this fish and chip shop with, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 walls full of booze.
What?
There was one whole wall of different whiskies and brandies and I'm like, I'm in a fish and chip shop.
No, this doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. It's bizarre.
It absolutely does not work. I
bizarre
enjoy
moments.
a whiskey. I love fish and chips, but there's no point at which you would have them together.
No.
It simply doesn't work.
So
cream soda and fish and chips, yes.
Top deck shandy.
Yes, I would entertain that.
A shandy works.
Yes.
So yeah, the monumental booze selection. I've never known anything like it.
Did you go? Sorry, why have you got this?
I didn't, but what was quite funny is I was going there late lunchtime. It wasn't busy. The lovely lady behind the counter said, "Okay, I'm cooking it fresh. It's going to be about 10 minutes. Is that okay?" I said, "No problem." She said, "Take a seat." And she just gestured behind me. I hadn't even noticed it as we walked in. So next to
a chair made of wine.
Honestly, it was a heavily patterned old 3-piece suite at the end of a fish and chip shop.
What?
So you sat down and just stared at shelves of booze, Alco Pops,
yes.
Shiraz.
Would you like some creme de menthe? No, you know what? I'm all right. It's actually 12:30.
Not really.
No, I'm good.
So yeah, it was a 3-piece suite.
I always think when you go into a chippy and they do that though, I want to go. Take your time.
Absolutely.
Don't rush this on my account.
No,
I would rather.
No, and it was
done.
You know what? It was great. We went back. I always like doing having a lunch, a later lunch doing barn finds, because you've hopefully cracked on and made some good progress. And you always sit around on the person's front lawn or on their drive with whatever sandwich food, whatever you've got in your hand, and a cuppa. And you admire your work. You're looking at the car. You're admiring some bits and bobs that you found in the garage. You found some odd trinkets and stuff. And it was quite funny. But I've got a confession to make about what happened on the way home.
Oh, God. I don't know why I'm laughing now.
So it was a really...
It just makes me feel like there's something coming. That as long as you didn't, like, run over a homeless man.
No. I was feeling worse and worse as the day went on. My nose, my head cold was just building, and I realised I had a 4-hour drive home.
Oh.
So it was like, shit. I was in an MG4. Been in an MG4 this week, and although I reviewed it when it was first launched, I've not really spent many hours.
You could have come and stayed here. Sort of on your way home. I mean, actually, this was this week, wasn't it? I was away in London, but you could have come and shared your disgusting cold germs with my wife, who's been having a torrid time of it this week with the snots as well.
I could have lived in the Hornet shed.
Yeah,
and, the Wolseley Hornet shed. So I thought to myself, shit, Johnny, come on, you got to get through this proper Daniel Bedingfield spec. And I took a couple of Beecham's Golden Flu Pluses and then cracked on. And of course, because I was in an electric car, I knew I'd have to stop and charge at some point. So as I'm travelling along, I'm like, I want to make a bit of progress, then I'll stop and charge. The phone rang, and it was Greg James. So I took a phone call from him because we hadn't spoken in a while. We're having a really good chat, and I realised mid-phone call, we're coming up to a place where I'd sort of I'd earmarked to charge, and it was a Premier Inn.
Yeah.
So I pulled in, and I tried to use my phone app to engage the rapid charger, but my phone wouldn't let me do it while I was making a phone call because it's a complete bastard. So I ended up just walking around in circles for ages, for about half an hour.
Why didn't you just say, Greg, I'll call you back?
I don't know. Because I'm an idiot. And then, so I had about a half-hour phone call with Greg whilst not charging the car. Idiot. And then I said, listen, Greg, I'm going to have to go. Got to charge the car. Also, I think I need the toilet now. And sure enough,
not going well.
Sure enough, I was actually starting to pinch the tip and do the little jig, and I managed to get the app to work really quickly. Please work app. Got the car charging, and then I was like, this is perfect timing for me. Car's charging. There's a Premier Inn. I'm just going to walk in. I'm going to use their toilet. It's going to be easy. Walked in, said hi to the lady, really polite. I said, "Oh, I'm just charging my car in the car park. Can I just use your toilet?" And she went, "No."
What?
She went, no, we don't allow people who aren't residents use the toilet.
Oh,
sorry,
titting
company
heck.
policy. And just did that sort of smile, but that's it. And last answer. So I went, oh. So I went, oh, okay. And by the I was doing the fairy dance.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, shit. So I walked out, back down the steps, and then I looked across the car park from where I was, big car park, and I thought, oh, Brewer's Fair pub.
Yeah.
Where they often do the breakfast.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to the pub. Walked really swiftly over to the pub, and then as I walked up the steps of the pub, it's closed.
What?
Then I looked around the car park and went, I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's a huge roundabout right next to one of the motorway junctions.
Yeah.
And there's no other facility.
Sorry, where was this?
I've taken a video of it and I'll share it with you and I'll share it with the patrons.
Where was the motorway? Which motorway?
Oh, the M50? Is it the M50?
M50 is... I suppose it could have been.
Yeah, I think it was the M50.
Ah.
There's a sign on that roundabout.
Oh, is there? Okay.
So anyway, look.
I just want... Because it sets the scene, because I think different British motorways have different characters.
Well, so I had nowhere to go. And it's a busy roundabout.
Oh, right. So you haven't...
There's no facilities.
So you didn't think of just standing in the empty car park and just like lawn sprinkling around?
But it was daytime, it wasn't night.
Oh, it was daytime?
It was broad daylight.
I thought this was night.
No, this was like 6 p.m.
Oh,
So it's summer.
It's long,
Summer.
long night, long days to the
Yeah. So I walked down to the roundabout and I realised it's one of those gigantic roundabouts that's got a full wood in the middle. So I stand. I'm wearing my barn.
Let's see if we can guess where this is going.
I'm wearing my barn find gear, so I'm wearing steel toe cap boots, old trousers, so I don't care about getting mucky.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for approximately 5 minutes. It's that busy because it's rush hour to get across to the middle of the roundabout where there's a thick woodland. And I'm like, I've never been in the middle of a thick woodland roundabout. This is interesting, but I'm also busting for a wee. I finally run across the road when there's a clearing in the traffic, and I bash down all the stinging nettles and there's some thorns, and I go into a very, very secluded part.
Yeah.
And I immediately start the WAS, and it takes forever. You know, feels like a 2-minuter.
Was this... I once wrote a script for a documentary about pit stops, F1 pit stops. And I went to see the Red Bull F1 team. And the thing that they told me that boggled my mind was that in a modern pit stop, that one of the reasons it's so fast is the gun goes onto the wheel before the car has stopped.
Oh!
That's how down to the millisecond they are. Was this you, though, that the fly was down before you'd stopped walking?
Oh, yeah. I'd already...
You're saving the millisecond.
Well, because I was waiting for a gap in the traffic for so long. I think I'd already uncocked the gun.
It's a horrible story.
So I'm rinsing my kidneys and it's going on forever. But then there's a problem. Because then I'm stood there, and although I can hear there's trucks really close by, but they can't see me because I'm in the middle of a roundabout, but in thick woodland. It's brilliant. It's quite liberating. But the problem is then I realise, hang on a minute, I need more than a wee.
Oh,
and I haven't got a choice.
No,
unfortunately, I have to.
Oh,
yeah, I have to. So I grab onto a tree and I lower myself to the ground and I shudder out a Karamak, and that's, I'm not proud of it, but I had to do it.
Karamak? What, are you eating 80s dog food? What the heck?
At that moment in time. But luckily, because I'd had runny nose all day, I had a pocket full of serviettes.
I was there were some technicalities about this that I was afraid to ask about, but I'm glad you've answered that question.
Look, I wasn't sure whether I should share it, but I have.
To sum up, before we end this show,
I haven't finished yet.
You haven't finished yet?
So that got done, and then I managed to walk back across without getting run over.
Yeah.
And then, do you remember when we were at Le Mans?
Yeah.
And I was admiring how amazing those Porsche wet wipes were.
The towelettes?
Yes! Guess what I had in my bag?
Yes!
Left over from Le Mans. I got.
We didn't talk about this, did we? How much you were enthralled by the towelettes, those little like sealed sachets of moist wipes.
Porsche.
You noticed were made in Germany, so they're like authentic. They've probably got a part number.
I opened one up because I got back to the car and went, I've got to wash my hands.
Yeah.
And then I realised, oh my God, I've got some Porsche towelettes.
Yeah.
So I ripped one open, and it's muslin. It's moist muslin cloth.
So it's super high quality.
It's actually real cloth.
Oh my gosh.
And I washed my hands with a big smile on my face, knowing that I'd accidentally made a cable in the middle of a roundabout. So now I'm going to say, I think all big roundabouts should have private toilets in the middle of them.
Well, just one of those,
Kiosk.
With some Porsche wipes in, because they're the best wipes.
And I need to apologise to Greg James because I basically cut him short because I needed to have a poo in the middle of a roundabout, it turns out. But anyway.
Okay, well, I mean, this is as good a note as any on which to end this, because
that's the truth.
We'll only start talking about insects again otherwise. Before we go, I have 3 things to tell you. I haven't done one of these. I've just written down the word tape.
I need to say a thank you to somebody.
Oh, go on then, yeah.
I need to say a massive thank you to a chap called Jody, who is the nephew of Slade's lead guitarist, Dave Hill.
What?
Who emailed me a while ago on the Late Break Show and said, I love your Boxster, your bargain Boxster that you've got. I had one for ages, but sold it, and I've just realised I had a set of wheels refurbished for it, and I've still got them in the woodshed. Do you want them?
What?
So I eventually met up with him at his place in Wolverhampton, and he didn't want any money for them.
What?
And they're mint.
Which style of wheel?
The original.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know you don't like the wheels on your bike.
I hate the wheels, so they're not on it anymore. I'll show you a picture. So thanks to Jody, the nephew of Dave Hill from Slade, I have a free set of really nice Boxster rims.
Wow.
So I'm going to give my set of Boxster rims away for free.
Okay.
In case anyone wants
Well, if you want some Boxster rims that Johnny doesn't like, I think they look all right, those ones, but they're not as nice as the original.
They're
I'll
not.
grant you that.
No.
Okay. Hello at Smith & Sniff if you'd like to claim the free rims. I don't know how we're going to police this. We may get overwhelmed
I just doubt
messages, but anyway,
I doubt it.
Worth a go. And if you've anything else you'd like to say to us, I'll read it out next time. There's an amazing message we got, but I'll say that for next time. Hello at smithandsniff.com, though, if you have anything else you need to say to us. Second thing I have to tell you is that I've got various books out, but also the book that I mentioned the other week, the Search for the Real Weasel book by Rich Duisberg. We met some of his friends at Le Mans, not him because he couldn't make it, but then he emailed me and said that he gathered we met some of his friends, and also could we plug his book again? So I went, yeah, okay. Which I've now read, and it's a very interesting tale as well. And now I've given it to you so you can read it. But you're still working through Excellence as Expected, which is going to take you another decade because it's the chunkiest 4-volume set.
Honestly, it is.
World.
But if you say it with the 60s person voice, it's even better. Excellence was expected.
The third thing I've got to tell you, I can't quite. Can't quite work this out, but I think I was looking at a map of what the names of all English counties mean, and there's two things that are funny about this. One of them is I think Dorset is somehow derived from the meaning of people of the fist.
Is that true?
Yeah,
people of the fist.
People of the fist. But also, there's all these other interesting ones, like where I'm from in Cheshire, is Shire of the Town. Of the legions.
What's Somerset?
I think Somerset is summer people.
People of summer.
People of summer.
And we're actually recording this the weekend of Glastonbury, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
And all that.
Yeah.
So,
but you look at this map, and it's all full of interesting meanings that are derived from all sorts of things, and then you just get. Presume this is because it's some kind of new county. Just right there in the middle, it just says West Midlands. Doesn't mean anything nice. It just means to be in the West of the Midlands.
Got one of those really annoying ticklish throats. It's from that fish and chips. I'm still welling up after seeing that Gilbert Invader. Quite frankly,
and what a car spotting time you've had, an original cabrio, and a Gilbert Invader.
Yeah,
these are not everyday sights.
I can die happy.
Yeah,
right now.
Daihatsu.
Yes, all happy.
So that anyway, this has been Smith and Sniff for this Monday. Thank you ever so much for listening. We'll do this all again next week, but until then, goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Bye now. Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Bye.
So you've enjoyed this podcast, but you've had a thought. Is there a way here today that you could show support? Well, you could join our Patreon, what wonders that it brings. Early shows and extra notes on that side of things. You could buy our merchandise, we've mugs and hats but still no ties. One day we will make those pies, but in the meantime, guys, hey guys, like and subscribe, and maybe leave a nice review. Like and subscribe, we know you know just what to do. Like and subscribe, we don't want to take the piss. Like and subscribe, but we were told to ask for this. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Thomas the Pop. I reckon Thomas the Pop.
That's so Welsh.
Medicinal weed. I reckon.
Thomas the Puff.